Samatha is a young Indian girl who lives with her parents in a quiet American suburb. Her mother does not forget the traditions of her country and demands that her daughter uphold them, while Samatha just wants to be like everyone else around her. At home she speaks English, and at school she responds to the Americanized name Sam. Her childhood friend Tamira, however, finds it difficult to get along with her peers, and lately she has become quite strange. She goes everywhere with a jar and shuns everyone. As it turns out, in this jar lives an ancient demon that feeds on negative emotions, and Samatha unknowingly lets it out. Ethnic horror movies that tell the usual stories about demons, evil spirits, and ghosts, but in the entourage of an unfamiliar culture, have been on the rise lately. In the West, they support any minorities in every possible way, help them feel their own, give them a chance to express themselves. If you look at the credits of It Lives Inside, you can think that this is an Indian movie. The director is Indian, the screenwriters are Indian, the list of leading actors includes 4 Indian names. And that's not a bad thing at all. We know from the relatively recent Netflix horror film His House, that this approach can spawn outstanding projects. But alas, not in this case. Another trend in modern horror movies is metaphors, and It Lives Inside conforms to it as well. The monster in this case is a metaphor for loneliness and isolation. It feeds off the negative emotions of its victim and kills anyone who tries to get close to it, causing it to distance itself from those around. If you multiply this by the difficulties immigrants have in integrating into a foreign society, you get a rather interesting plot, which the authors also reinforce with the conflict within the family. Samatha's mother Purna doesn't want to break away from her roots. So why doesn't it work as well as it could? There are 2 key problems with It Lives Inside, and the first concerns the script, which sets up the pieces on the chessboard quite spectacularly and then doesn't know what to do with them. Characters seem to hang around aimlessly from one location to another, having meaningless conversations, taking some random actions. The world they live in is not like the real one, there are no police, and the characters' actions often have no expected consequences. Taking the story of integration as a basis, the authors show a complete lack of interest in the world into which the main characters are trying to integrate. The second problem with the movie is that its director Bishal Dutta is not very good at suspenseful scenes. He seems to have mastered the technique of constructing them, but it's as if he doesn't feel their nerve, their rhythm, their meaning, so that in the end such moments don't gather the suspense into a lump, but smear it with a thin layer. What's there to talk about, when a tense scene with Samatha's teacher being haunted by a demon is cut by Dutta with a conversational scene between Samatha and her mother? In the end, It Lives Inside doesn't work well as a horror movie, and is interesting only as another step in Western genre cinema's move toward ethnic diversity.